What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Sports Talk on Tap podcast. We're here. You can find daily videos Monday through Friday, covering all the four major sports leagues, whether that be the NBA or the Men's Basketball Olympics, NHL, MLB, NFL, games, news, highlights, all that fun stuff. We're here to talk about. And Nick, one Olympic game we had yesterday, and like the title says, arguably too close for comfort. But Nick, when we talked about maybe what did Brazil need to do to pull off an upset, or what any team had to do to pull off an upset, was shoot his great game from three, which Serbia did. Through most of the fourth quarter, they were at 50%. And Bojan Bajdovic was leading the way. He was letting the fans hear it too, doing some trolling, talking to LeBron. But it happened, I think, midway through the third or fourth. They just started trash talking LeBron, and I saw LeBron get that look in his eye, like the announcer said, and I was like, "We got this." And overall, we needed, or a team needed, the U.S. to struggle as well, and that happened for a majority of this game. Steph Curry was the only one who, throughout the first half to end of the game, played amazing, and that shows in the box score. I think he had 17 in the first. 36 for the game. Clutch shots at the end. LeBron got a little bit going in the fourth, but the guy I want to give him the most credit to, or not the most credit, because obviously Steph Curry deserves the most credit, but some underrated credit was in that fourth quarter. Joel Embiid surprisingly really showed out against Jokic when they needed him to. Hit some big shots, was playing some good defense on Jokic, forcing some misses, and he's a guy that throughout most of this Olympic run has kind of struggled to find, his rhythm and what he wants to, be in this team and his role. But the last few games we showed, obviously he looked really solid against Brazil, 14 points, very good shooting. And then similar to tonight, very good efficiency, and just played amazing in that fourth, got some big stops, was just being ultra aggressive, hitting some timely mid-range shots which is his bread and butter. And I think, he's finally starting to find a rhythm. And against Jokic, you needed someone too. And he basically played all the fourth quarter. They didn't put Bam or Anthony Davis out there because they trusted Embiid. It's similar with all the other starters, and rightfully so, because, a lot of people were struggling. Devin Booker for a little bit was. My boy Ant kept turning the ball over in the first half when he was on. So it's kind of, Derek White didn't look that great. And Jason Tatum, I don't believe, got much around in this game.
He didn't play. So we can talk about
that just because, I think, if they were to have lost this game, there would have been, a lot of Steve Kerr problems, just because it's similar to, the Anthony Edwards turnover problem. He's being the lead ball handler. Why don't you have a guy like Drew Holiday out there always running point, or Derek White, someone that can, just pass the ball? Because I like Ant, but his biggest weakness probably, or one of his weaknesses, is still probably playmaking. So why is he, your lead ball handler when you have 6 point guards here and Tyrese Halliburton riding pine the whole game, and he's arguably top 3 passer in this league? So, some of the coaching stuff still doesn't make sense to me, but, at this point, Nick, we've talked about that all Olympic run. It's never really made sense with Steve Kerr, so we'll just kind of, expect that. But, when the U.S. need it most, Steph Curry, KD hit some timely shots at the end. LeBron being aggressive. Booker hit a big three. So when they needed it, they finally started cooking, and, they end up getting the dub. But, Serbia had the right mix of stuff to pull off this upset. But, like KD said, it's just about who wants it more. And, I think at the end of the day, the United States showed the heart in that last mountain to climb to come back from this, even trailing by double digits, entering the fourth quarter.
Yeah, when I was watching and there was 5 minutes left to go, I think Serbia Jokic might have just gotten an and one to put him up 11, and I was I think they might have him. And to my surprise, out of all the guys on the floor, it was Joel Embiid that put the USA on the run. I think he scored 8 straight points, and then KD hit a huge three, and they got a foul. They got an inbound. Booker hit a big three, and then Steph I think got them the lead, but it was
And then
crazy.
LeBron, a nice layup. I don't really get this though. I think everyone's kind of making it like LeBron, carry them. Like, no, like he was really good on the defensive end because he was taking that mismatch on Jokic. So I guess you could say maybe defensively, but offensively, I think Joel Embiid's kind of getting underrated in his part to this because the iconic photos like we have pulled up of Curry and LeBron, it's going to be great. It's going to be something we look back in history, assuming they win on Saturday, which isn't a safe bet. But, I would say this was a very underappreciated Joel Embiid game because as much flack, Nick, as, I call him for the flopping and stuff, and, a lot of people do. You also got to be there for players when they're doing their good too. You can't just be like, I don't want to be, that guy that just hates one particular player, even when he's doing good. Mm-hmm. And so you got to call out the good and bad. And this was one of Joel Embiid's best games when they need him most, and what most people still think is the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic.
Going back to what you said about, not a safe bet. I think they're going to be good. I think this was the game where we talked about it, where stuff was going wrong for the U.S. and stuff was going right for Serbia. That was the game the USA was going to lose. They still somehow, pulled it out by scoring 32 in the fourth quarter. But I think now, they realized, hey, we can't do that again. Like we can't let these guys be in the game the entire time and have to storm all the way back. So I think I might be more confident than you going into the gold medal game. But I think if there was a game they were going to lose, it was that one.
So it depends for me, really, what is the Rudy Gobert situation for France, because he didn't play. I don't know if he played any or at all last game. I think he played only a little bit again, and just because of whatever injury he's dealing with or some sort of problem. I think what makes France really could be dominant and give the United States problem is just their two big man lineup. But I'm very curious. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. We obviously have Wembanyama for France. Evan Fournier has been turning it up a little bit recently. Obviously, the iconic game against Canada in the quarterfinals. You still have Nicholas Batum, some veteran Strazzle, can shoot the ball. So I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a dogfight, but I do think, ultimately if I had to put a prediction down on the game specifically, I'd probably, have the United States win by 10 points.
Okay, that's a fair margin. I wouldn't say they're going to blow them out just because it's the gold medal game. But, I mean, France has been doing okay without Rudy. I think he's played 5 minutes in the past two games. They still had upsets in both games, correct? They played Canada.
Well, I feel like at some point you just need that star or whatever you define Rudy Gobert as talent out there at some point against a team like the United States, because they have been good. But Germany, despite how much we like them, mainly because team chemistry, their best player talent wise is probably Dennis Schroeder, one of the Wagner brother, Franz Wagner. I think there's just going to be so much talent on this team. At some point, you need to match it, no matter how well some of these guys are meshing. And France has had that. One of the guys that's taken in Rudy Gobert's place, stumbling out of his name, has been great the last two games, scoring the ball. But I think, it'd be kind of good to see, what happens if it is, stars for stars, and the USA, because LeBron has been doing a lot of great stuff, attacking the rim and stuff, and obviously if shooters like Curry, but how would the inside game look if it was Embiid who has a high hand versus Wembanyama and Gobert, similar with AD? I think it'd be a really interesting dogfight on the inside of the paint.
I'm curious, what do you think it's going to take for France to actually win? Do you think it's going to be an Evan Fournier 45-point game where he hits 8?
No, but it's gonna have to be something similar to the Canada game where he puts up. They're not gonna win because Wembanyama didn't shoot the ball great yesterday. So that's step one. He's got to have a game of probably 25 plus points. Similar what Evan Fournier 20 plus Rudy Gobert to play great defense if he's on the court and get boards and maybe have like 10 points. If I don't know how much he plays though. If he plays like no minutes, then scratch this whole prediction. Like that Rudy part. And then probably Batum to just hit a couple threes, and a guy like Strazel to just get some buckets. So similar, it's going to need to be a Wemby, Fournier, really efficient 25-plus point games. And I would say, you don't need the whole United States team to go cold just because mainly that's too unrealistic. But, you need a guy like Curry to come back to earth probably. And I mean, I think he won't have that great of shooting, but you never know. He might do it again. But either way, Steph Curry, is a safe bet for, great efficiency most nights. And he wasn't this Olympics, so maybe he's due for 2 big back-to-back games. But, you need, if Curry has a game like he did yesterday, there ain't no way France is winning. I don't care if you told me how the rest of the roster did. If they didn't make a shot, they're not winning. And then obviously, probably got to contain the LeBron drives, probably force him to take as much outside shots as possible. And then similar on the inside, just make life hell for Embiid. And when, frustrate him, get him a little body, that's kind of where he's at his worst. So just make life hell for him. Obviously, Anthony Davis, Ban on bio. And, just contain guys like, Booker, Ant coming off the bench, Tatum if he gets run, Derek White, Drew Holiday, kind of just hope they miss their threes. And, that's just kind of the way it's going to have to be for France to win. But they do have home court advantage in this game.
Okay. I think if we're predicting players to take over, I think Steph's game was last game. So I either want to go LeBron is going to close it out, be Le Captain America, or just go KD. KD will shoot like 85% and hit like 7 threes. And
here's what I predict is going to happen.
Here comes the Ant Edwards prediction.
No, because Ant doesn't get any. You think I'm that biased? Ant doesn't get running because Booker obviously closes the games out. Just because he's a great fit there. Still better outside shooter, which is what they need from him. I think it's going to be Evan Fournier hits like a big 3 with like 10 seconds to go. France takes the 1-point lead. LeBron James for Le Captain America drives down, goes for the win, has a wide open what we think is dunk. Rudy Gobert puts that hand out, stuffs that shit. Ball gets right to Wemby for 3 throws. They sink them. USA missed their 3. France wins by 3.
You're saying France wins, bro. This man
France
switches up not only on his team, on his country. He switches up on Ant. He's praying that Rudy Gobert has a shining moment so that he doesn't all the slander he's got.
You have to admit though, if that happened, Rudy's already the most hated. And then Rudy Gobert is the one to block LeBron from like a gold medal before he retires. I just laugh my ass off. I would
public enemy number 1 in the NBA community if Rudy Gobert is the reason the USA loses.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's just like people are like so obsessed with hating on him. Like still this summer, Draymond can't take a break, questioning why he's not playing much with France. And it's like, dude, like I don't know. People are obsessed with hating on this guy, and he just like doesn't speak to the media. Like he doesn't really do much. He just seems like a quiet guy.
Last time he spoke to the media, he caused COVID. But
yeah, but he just seems like a pretty laid back guy. Most of the time, I know he can get physical sometimes, but that's just the way it is. He doesn't seem like a bad guy. I know Ant likes him. Him and Carlos seem to form a good bond. So I just don't get all the hate. And, obviously I think the United States is going to win. But it would be one of the top dream scenarios if it wasn't, Ant hitting like a step back 3 in Wemby's face, for the win.
What if Ant dunks on Rudy to win the gold medal?
That's why I saw some Timberwolves fans were saying, like, we're going to see an Ant poster on Rudy. And I'm like, there's no win-win because that just means Ant's oars increase. And that's like Rudy Gobert, the fakest defensive player of the year. So it's just like.
So I would be fine. If I'm a Timberwolves fan, I'm fine with that. Like, Rudy take all the
at this point, I don't really care because, even if Rudy, like I said, blocks LeBron and makes just a great play during the game, he's just gonna get shit on anyways.
Yeah,
So it's
no,
just
that's how sports, social media goes. That's what we were talking about the other day. It's like
but then
he's never going to get credit.
if Wemby did it, it'd be like Wemby's already ahead of LeBron and GOAT
Right,
conference. So
exactly. It could be the
that's just
exact scenario, but instead of Gobert, it's Wemby, and people
yeah.
will glaze Wemby for it.
Yeah. And so, regardless of what happens, whether Rudy plays, I guess, no minutes due to some injuries facing or just whatever happens, I'm hoping to see him out there for at least a couple minutes just to see how he looks. But it should be a fun game. Obviously, the United States was able to come back yesterday, led by Steph Curry, LeBron on the defensive end, more so things, Embiid, KD. They get the job done. And with that being said, have a date with the host country, France, tomorrow, and we should be here to recap it this weekend or early next week, Monday. As the weekend approaches, should be fun watching some preseason. Just kind of enjoy the vibes of summer before it comes to eventually a close. Sadly, already almost the middle of August, so sad times. But with that being said, we'll still be here to cover all the sports and the Olympics as it continues to go on. But as always, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. Let us know your biggest takeaways from the United States win over Serbia or the France win over Germany and your predictions for the France versus United States finals game. And we'll catch you next one. Peace.